what is dotDefender, we'll just have a quick overview. dotDefender basically is a software plugin, and what it does and what it's all about is basically it sits on top of IIS or Apache servers, on both in Linux and in Windows. What we're talking about here is basically a software-based web application firewall that performs the deep inspection of HTTP or SSL HTTPS content and will monitor or block, by decision, any harmful requests. Now, dotDefender, by definition, is not intrusive and can really sit on top of your environment, and it will not affect the traffic and the performance of your server. We will, of course, continue and talk about these issues with our panel, but before we do, I will just say that dotDefender complements other network security measures, and when I say that, I mean that if you have a firewall or an ISP, dotDefender will fit right in to your environment in that matter. Now, let's move on to the interesting part here, which is the way dotDefender protects. Now, dotDefender basically is defending your server and protecting your server with a given, basically using 5 perspectives. We will briefly talk about these perspectives. The first one is the signature perspective. dotDefender actually hackers can use many tools and try to prone your for vulnerabilities and so on, as Itik said before, and that we can help you see what is a bad user agent, what is a known worm, and this is what basically this perspective does, this engine does. The second one will be the session management engine. Here we can basically see that attackers and hackers use basically perform large number of requests in a short period of time, and basically this is what we call a denial of service attack. They can actually cause downtime to your server or servers. Now we have a session management tool or session management engine that can help you provide a cure or remedy for these kind of things. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the pattern recognition engine. Now, this is something that is very, very important, and this is the core of our, I would say this is the core of our protection. Now, we're going to see here a little examples of how dotDefender can actually protect your server. And in the pattern recognition view, we can see that we have many kinds of attacks and categories. Now, we won't drill down to the bits and bytes of everything here, but for example, if you take SQL injection, we can see the rule set. This is part of the default rule set, and we won't elaborate on this right now, but I'm sure that Robert Moses, our partner in this channel, will talk more about that in less than a minute. Okay, coming back to here to the protection mechanism, we'll talk about 2 other things, which is the fact that we also maintain outbound inspection and upload inspection. That means that any credit cards or credit card information or system information or any social security numbers you might hold in your database, dotDefender will see everything, will monitor and can block as well everything that is coming in and out of the server. So we listen to the request as well as the response. With that said, I think that all the above mentioned bring me to ask Robert, what do you think are the threats that you saw in your experience and did you experience in the last usage with your experience and with dotDefender, and how dotDefender helps them protect this kind of threat and help with that?
Sure. Thanks, Shai. And can everyone hear me okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, great. One of the things that we see now and have seen consistently is primarily the automated scripted attacks. Either from say hacking tools like the Metasploit framework or even commercial or open source scanners. We'll see a block of IPs basically sweep all hosts on our network doing traditional port scans, and of course that's not unexpected in today's hosting environment. But more and more we're seeing fairly sophisticated attempts at cross-site scripting, SQL injection. Then these are blind tests. These are not directed at anything specifically. And you can see a Windows server being pulled for a Linux binary, trying to see if they can execute that. That's the thing we see most often, and it's interesting and maybe even a little sobering just to realize how much is going on that you may not even realize. And dotDefender, one of the things it does is lets us even see that these requests are coming in 24 hours a day. In some specific examples that we've seen in the recent months, I'm sure most of you who follow web security heard about a fairly popular plugin called TimThumb for WordPress. We saw a lot of requests across the websites that we host and protect with dotDefender. Yeah, was there a question?
No. No, please,
okay.
Robert, if you...
Yeah. We saw a lot of attempts at testing URLs that included that particular vulnerable script. For the most part, we didn't have any issues with folks having compromises or problems related to that, which is really fortunate because we were able to deploy dotDefender to protect those sites. Other common attacks that we see are mostly cross-site scripting, and I know Itzik, you had said that's becoming a more and more popular thing because it doesn't do anything necessarily to the site itself, but it's more what's going to happen to the user that starts executing those extra scripts. That's what we're seeing today, and seeing more and more of it. We actually use dotDefender almost as a say a monitoring system beyond just the simple role that it can play in protecting from these website risks.
Okay, Robert. Thank you. I think it's very sobering to hear these things as well. Maybe Itzik, you have something to elaborate about the threats and maybe your point of view about the security point of view of these things. Maybe you have something to elaborate.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Shai. Thank you, Robert, for your insights. So what's describing is in line with the trends right now that hackers have discovered that they can automate some of the process. Of course, we're talking about more sophisticated hackers. Some of them can operate Metasploit thanks to these YouTube videos. Others were combining different tools out of their already existing pool. And yeah, they're going wide and not in depth. They're not looking to score a specific target. Like I said, there is no sense of challenge anymore. For them, it's just to attack as many sites as possible, and then to try to either monetize out of it or sell information to someone else who can in turn monetize out of it and sell it to them. So I would say that in the future they will again keep using this method, and it only will get more complicated because some of the other hackers, the more sophisticated hackers, are working on more advanced tools, and they present them at conferences such as Black Hat and DEF CON, and they eventually end up just by the script kiddies, and then they're again trying to either evade products or find new vulnerabilities. And there is no the real solution should be, like you described yourself, to monitor it, to deploy controllers, and to keep this in sight and in mind.